Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Megabyte Monday, which is live. Or if you're watching the replay, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm super excited to have you guys here. And today we are going to talk about my struggles with social media and how it's just not an easy thing to handle at all. So if I ever look down, I have my laptop running. So I can see your comments in real time. And then on the other side, I have notes. So if you see me looking down at any point, remember that this is live or that it was recorded live, and I am in real time answering questions. I'm seeing who's here, all of those wonderful things before I get started and kind of let people get here and get used to me being live on screen. Because that's usually not something that's normal. In the meantime, you can see that I've scratched my neck, which is great. That's real life. Here we go. I keep it real. But what I am here to talk about today is my personal struggle with social media and Instagram in particular. Oh, who's here? Hi, Gabby and Josanne and Ryan. Amazing people, amazing people. I'm so excited that you're here. Yay! Yay! And so this topic of social media and primarily Instagram is really, really uncomfortable. But I wouldn't be staying true to who I am and what I do and why I do this if I hid behind my phone screen and didn't share this story with you. I think oftentimes what we forget is that on social media, on the other side of your phone screen or computer screen or whatever, it's people. And those people have feelings. Those people have family. They can see what you're writing and see what you're posting. So I think that is kind of the first step in handling social media appropriately. I have so many amazing people here. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So kind of remembering that you have someone on the other end of the phone or device, whatever you're using, is always really important. But as we kind of divulge and dig into my story, it'll be really, really interesting. I'll do my best to keep up with questions, but really my focus is here. Right here, guys. So we're going to go ahead and get started with my story. And I do have something to take away with you, or take away tonight, which I'll share in a little bit. So let me grab my notes. So I've kind of touched base on what my Instagram business, blogging, TBT journey kind of was in a prior video here on my channel. But essentially, I started teaching in 2011. I got a job straight out of college, and I was told by my younger sister that there was this really cool app called Instagram where you could just like post pictures. And I was like, oh, that's cool. She's like, you should totally get it. And I was like, this is really stupid. This is really dumb. I'm just posting pictures. Like, why? Like, why am I just posting pictures? Little did I know that it would become later an addiction, essentially. But at the time, I was like, well, this is just ridiculous. This is Instagram? Like, what? Like, okay. So I created an account. I posted some pictures. And then being a first-year teacher, I looked for other teachers. And I wanted to connect, and I wanted to figure out what I was doing. And I wanted support because I felt alone. I was in my first year of teaching. I moved to a new town. I moved away from my family. No boyfriend, no nothing. So it was you felt naked. You felt very naked stepping into that first role. And so I relied on social media heavily to kind of guide me into what the teacher should look like in my first year of teaching. And I was just using Instagram as like a social tool. Like I just wanted to post the cute picture of my flowers or me in a scarf or like whatever. It was really had no like rhyme or reason. So then from there, what it kind of created is in 2012-ish, I kind of decided that I saw so many amazing TBTers and so many amazing teachers like sharing their blogs and sharing resources and connecting and doing these giveaways and collaborations. And I was like, I want to be a part of that. I want to do that. how do I do that? And there's no right answer to that. You just kind of have to like jump into it and you just kind of have to go with it. But my goal as I started was to connect with other educators and learn and grow, and share ideas and have a sounding board outside of the four walls of my classroom when I had an idea and I needed someone to tell me if it was good or bad, or just someone to listen. Because I think that in teaching, you can become very lonely very quickly. So I didn't want that. I didn't want that for myself. So I originally started Instagram. 2012, I was like, all right, don't worry about this. I am going to go ahead and just go for it. I'm going to try to do business. I'm going to try, going to try to do this teacher bloggy thing. Oh, hi, DJ. Oh, look at all these amazing people. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. Okay, I love this. I absolutely love this. Ah! We need the ability to give hearts on here. I agree. It says you can do happy faces. Can you do happy faces? I don't know. But yeah, so 2012, I decided to stop using Instagram as like a personal tool and start to use it as, like sharing blogs and connecting with teachers and all of those other things. Good. These messages make me so happy, just so you know. So I wasn't really effective. I had no idea what I was doing. Instagram was extremely new at the time. It hadn't been bought by different companies, and it definitely isn't the tool that it is today. But I really had no idea what I was doing, and my whole goal was just to connect. So that's what I did. I left feedback, I commented, I interacted, I collaborated. I did all of those things. So around 2014 is when I had kind of like made some sales on TPT, and I felt like I was headed down the right track. I had blog posts, I was gaining followers, I was, doing all of the right things, it seemed like. And then I got married in 2015 to my wonderful husband, who is holed up with the dogs right now. So I can do this amazingness. But we got married in 2015, in June of 2015, and life changes a ton. In a month of getting married, I moved. I went on a honeymoon. I got a new job, and I had to go to all of the PD and move into my new classroom by the end of July. So, I mean, like, a lot of things took place. And it was extremely stressful. And looking back now, I was probably depressed. Honestly, I moved away from everything I knew. I moved away from family. I moved away from friends. I moved away from like restaurants, and basically the town that I had grown up in and taught in for 3 or 4 years was gone. And I was uprooted from so many different things. And I moved into a house with my husband and 2 roommates, 2 male roommates. And that was a huge change. And I think at that point in my life is kind of where I began to rely on Instagram, among other apps and social media, but relied on it heavily for my human connection. And that's kind of sad when I think about it. But being in the spot that I was and feeling so depressed and disconnected and uprooted, I didn't really want to leave the house. I didn't want to go put myself out there. I was sad. I didn't like where I was. I had moved so quickly through things that I began to rely on social media for my personal connections. And at that time, what really didn't help was Periscope. Periscope had hit the teacher community and the world in general hard. And it was an addiction, and it had this whole drive. Oh, you had to be there. You had to see what happened, because if you weren't there, then you missed out on what happened in so-and-so's Periscope, or you missed out on this free resource. So the FOMO was huge. And so instead of looking at myself and seeing that I wasn't in a good place, I kind of let my obsession and my addiction with social media and wanting human interaction, besides my husband, go to my phone. And in that first year of marriage, there's a lot of hard things that take place, but that was probably the hardest thing, was that I spent so much time connecting with other people on my phone. And it's great. It really was. I made some amazing, like Josiane, you've been here for so long. So long. And I love it because I know who you are. I know who you are because you've been on my journey with me for so long, and I love you and I appreciate you for that. But at the time, like, I was not in a good place. I really, really wasn't. And what ended up happening was I ended up surrounding myself with negativity and disconnect and the unwillingness to really kind of put myself out to people in real life. And it wasn't good. It wasn't healthy. And it was really, really hard. It was really, really hard. Once I walked away from my phone, I was lonely and I was sad, and I didn't want to be away from my phone. It was really, really unfortunate. And I had created that for myself. It wasn't that anybody told me to do it. It wasn't that anybody put me there. It was just, I did that to myself. And in the moment when you're caught up in those things, you don't stop and look at yourself and say, this isn't right. But looking back now, it was so wrong. It was just not a healthy place for me to be. And as Periscope picked up and as people began to know my name, this is going to sound really gross coming out of my mouth, like I don't like it, but what I found was people began to know who I was, which still to this day blows my mind that someone could possibly recognize me at a teacher conference. Usually people don't recognize me in my hometown or where I currently live, and that's totally fine. I'm okay with that. But when people are like, oh, I know you, and I'm like, why? Why do you know me? But at that time, what I didn't realize is that I had gained so many amazing people as followers and that believed in what I was doing and what I was saying, that some people began to view that as competition. And when you work in an area where money is involved, unfortunately, it can get ugly. It just can. When money is involved, there becomes envy and competition and all of those other things. And it just became a really ugly, ugly thing. And I didn't know. I had no idea. And I still am a little bit naive in this. But, oh, thank you. Thank you for the hair compliment. I appreciate it. But it was just it was not a great place. And what eventually happened was people would call out and say, hey, look, you have momentum. You need to carry this momentum and make sure that you're taking the correct steps to make a lot of money and, you know, have a lot of followers and make sure people like admire you and want to look up to you. And I was like, oh, is this how business works? I didn't know. I didn't get a business degree. I work in education. And for someone to come to me and say, hey, you need to do this, and I trust them, I was like, well, okay, this is what I need to do. But it became so disgusting. And here's where my really unhealthy relationship with Instagram in particular started. I thought that my worth was attached to the number at the top of my screen, right next to my name. To the point where I would feel awful if my number did not grow, if my number went down. I had those wonderful apps that everyone tells you to have to track your followers, and it made me feel awful. It made me feel sick. I've never felt more worthless in my life than thinking that my worth came from a number at the top of a social media screen. And I honestly didn't even know what was happening. I really thought that this was what business was. This is what growth was. This is what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to care about this number at the top of my screen because the more people that follow me means the more money in my pocket. And that's just disgusting. I mean, even saying that is disgusting. And that's not it. That's not why I started on Instagram to begin with. But I had completely lost sight of why I was on Instagram and what I was there for. And when I would have those moments where I didn't want to do the business steps or take those steps or move in that direction, what ended up happening was I got pushback. I mean, really nasty messages. I got, the fear of, well, you're not going to be successful then. And when you attach your self-worth to strangers that you may never meet, you lose power. You lose so much more than power. And you've handed over everything you believe in yourself and everything that you are to a group of strangers that only see what you post. They're not there with you on a daily basis. They don't know your struggles. They don't know your life story, because there's even some parts that you don't share on social media. And I put all of my eggs in that basket. I put all of my feelings into that number at the top of my screen. And I was there for a really long time. For about like 2 or 3 years, I really thought that I meant nothing if my number didn't grow. And there were some really sickening moments. And honestly, I can say now, looking at it, I still struggle with the number some days. I've gotten to the point where I have more good days than bad days. But it truly became an addiction of, how can I get more people to follow me? How can I get this number to grow? Because if I don't, I'm not worth anything. And that's honestly what I thought. It is. It's a really, really slippery slope to go down. And the thing is, I'm not the only one that's done this. I'm not the only one that has experienced this. Which is why I'm trying to be open and be honest. And everybody's journey is different. And this is scary because I don't want judgment. Nobody wants judgment. I mean, honestly. But it was a really unhealthy, scary place to be. So I moved on in life and separated myself from the negativity. I separated myself from feeling like I had to be competitive. I blocked accounts. I unfollowed accounts. I took time away from my phone just to kind of get myself back into a right mindset of, I'm worth something. I am worth more than a number at the top of my screen. Because what you don't see is that I'm a wife. You don't see that I'm a dog mom. You don't see that I'm a daughter. You don't see that I'm a sister or I'm a niece. I'm so much more than just a teacher in a classroom, and you guys don't get to see that. And how could you? I mean, you only see what I share. But I mean, I've gotten hate comments about, I should leave the classroom because how dare I have that kind of mindset, or how dare I do that, with students. And I used to think that that was normal. I live next to a train station, so ignore the train. Or not a train station. I live next to railroad tracks. Good Lord. So what eventually happened was, as I kind of separated myself from what was negative, I really had to sit down and look at, okay, what is it that is giving me these negative feelings? Is it a person? Is it an account? Is it myself and a personal view that I need to shift my mindset? Like, what is it that I need to do? What is it that I need to rid my life of to get myself out of this hole? Because no one can do it for me. Nobody can do it for me. And I myself am going to have to pull myself out of this hole if I don't want to feel this way anymore. And I gotta tell you, I felt awful. I felt terrible. I felt like the world's worst teacher. I felt like I should just up and leave and give up everything that I've done as far as makes crayons because I was worth nothing. I was worth nothing. And I had one final breakdown on my bathroom floor, which love my bathroom floor if you don't know me. But had a full-on meltdown of, you know, why am I doing this? Like, why did I do this? And I sat and I was like, I'm going to delete it. I'm going to delete it all. There's no point in me doing this anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to feel this way anymore. And then I realized that what I had created as far as my account wasn't where the negativity was coming from. It was coming from other sources. So once I cut myself off from those sources, I began to feel better. I didn't feel the pressure. I didn't feel the push. I still obsessed about my number, but then I went ahead and the next step was to delete the followers app or whatever it was that I had and remove myself from that. And then from there, I had to take the step to, you know, make sure that when I didn't get a certain amount of likes on a photo, like I didn't have to feel worthless. Like that's what I wanted to post in that moment, and that's okay. I'm not doing this for anybody else but myself. And it took a really long time for me to realize that my Instagram and my business and what I've created selfishly was created for me to be able to connect and share. And that might be selfish. That's totally fine if you think that that's selfish. But that's where I have to think in my mind in order for me not to hand my self-worth over to you on a silver platter. That's what I have to think. Now, does this mean that I'm like, well, I don't care about you guys? No, not at all. But for myself, because I care about myself so much, enough now, I can say your like does not equal me feeling good about myself today. Cool, you weren't feeling my post? All right. And I cannot tell you how long it took me to get here where I'm like, cool, we don't vibe? Fine, block me. I don't care. Unfollow me. That doesn't hurt me because you are not what defines how I feel about myself. And I think that this really gross thing has happened with social media where people see people be successful and they want to know the secret algorithm and they want to know the secret. There's no secret to it. They were just more successful. They were lucky, whatever. They paid for followers, whatever. But does having more followers actually make me a better person? What does having more followers actually do? And I had to sit down and really ask myself that. What does it do for me? And I finally realized that if my number goes up or down, all it means is that I've gained or lost, but usually I've gained people that found me because of me. They didn't find me because of some like giveaway. They didn't find me because somebody shouted me out, or maybe they did and they decided to stay. And that's the important thing. I don't want to gain followers just to gain followers. That's like collecting poker chips that are worth nothing. My followers, I've worked and built connections with almost each and every one of them. When you send me a message, I do my best to answer it because it's about connection and it's about collaboration, and that's why I started. And when I finally got back to a point in my journey where I was like, that's why I started. And why did I stop? Why did I lose sight of that? That's when I kicked myself in the butt and I was like, look, I don't need this. I don't care if you unfollow me. I don't care if you don't like what I said. I don't care if that's not what you think. I'm not here to argue. I'm here to share and I'm here to collaborate. And if that's not what you're about, then goodbye. We don't have to like each other, but you don't have to hate on me either. So I can honestly say that I'm still a work in progress as far as having a healthy relationship with my Instagram. But knowing that I'm not the only one that's had this struggle, what I went ahead and did was I did research on social media, which is ever changing. And I wanted to provide you guys with steps that worked for me. I'm not claiming to be any kind of expert. I'm not a psychologist. I can't take you through therapy or anything like that. But I can relate to you. I'm human, just like everybody else. I have my struggles. I have my issues. I have my breakdowns on the bathroom floor. I'm human. And you can love me and hate me for it. It's not going to affect me. But what I decided to do was sit down and create a guide to having a healthy Instagram that takes you through 3 steps that I'm still going through today to getting started. And it's not going to be like you can sit down in an hour and knock this out, but it's 3 steps where it's almost like I'm there walking you through it. It's almost like you have me there with you to guide you. So it's not in my TPT store. You're actually going to find it on my website, and it's actually linked in the description box. Or, oh, nope, that's not it. Hold on. I will drop it in the comments. Give me a second. Okay. And it kind of looks like this. And like I said, I have a free version. I do have a paid version because this was hard. This was a lot of research. It took a lot of time, but I really wanted to be able to guide you through something. And do you have to purchase it? No. But if you want to support me and you love me and you appreciate what I've done and you understand my struggle, then that's one way to support me, or send me a copy. That's fine too. But this guide goes through, basically when I sat down and looked at what I had to do to get myself out of that hole, I realized that it could kind of be chunked into 3 steps. And I'll kind of go over the 3 steps. But I mean, the first one you have to do is where I talked about, you got to clean it up. You have to cut off the connections to the negativity. And it isn't easy. Honestly, the first step took me months. I did not do this in an hour. I did not do this in a day. I didn't do it in a month. It took me months to get to a point where I felt like I had blocked the negativity out of my life. And you have to do that for yourself, because when you start realizing that you are worth more than feeling like crap on a regular basis, you don't feel so bad hitting that block button or that unfollow button. And the other thing I realized is unfollowing should not be a personal thing. If you go unfollow someone and you hit that button like, oh, I unfollowed you, you're in the wrong. That's not how social media should be viewed. Really, really, really should not. Like hitting that button is not to hurt the person on the other end of the phone. It should be like, I need a break from you. And that's okay. You can take a break from somebody and come back to them. Who cares? This is your social media. It's got to be a good space for you to be in. It shouldn't be a place where there's negativity and there's constant competition and the feeling of that. So step 1 is to clean it up. And that doesn't happen magically. It's going to take time. I also have a free version of this guide on my website. If you want to kind of take a peek, if you don't want to like purchase it yet, that's totally fine, but it only gives you the first step. But it goes into 2 other steps. And like I said, these steps are not easy. These steps take time. And at the end, it's 11 pages, but at the end, I shared this with you. And it says, I am more than a number. Because you are. You are so much more than a number. Whether that's on your Instagram, whether that's on your Facebook page or your Twitter or the scale or your pant size or whatever, you're more than a number. You're a human. And there's so many different sides to you. And why would you ever hand your self-worth over to people that you've never met and you may never meet? Like, why do you think there's so many internet trolls on the web? I mean, because they have found that they can easily offend someone sitting on their couch eating Cheetos. But when you remove that and you take that away, they're gone. They're completely gone. So I have the guide for you. Check it out if you want to. I mean, again, it's like the 3 steps that I kind of, it's the process that I took myself and I'm still taking myself. And right now I'm working on staying away from my phone and being more present with the people around me rather than constantly going through Instagram and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and hoping that I see something different when I don't. Or watching every single Instagram story that's on my feed because it bothers me. No. And there are tips in here that I share with you. Like, you can go mute Instagram stories. You don't have to unfollow a person. You can go mute the Instagram story. Doesn't mean you don't want to watch them. It just means, hey, I am spending too much time on Instagram. I need to mute the story. There's not, it shouldn't be like, I'm muting this because I don't like you. That shouldn't be your thought process at all. And I think so many of us have gotten there, and we ourselves then put our own self-worth into our own social media. And honestly, I think if you're just using social media to connect and observe, I don't think you feel that competitiveness. But if you're using it to promote your business and share ideas and connect and grow, then I think this is a feeling that you constantly run into. And I got to tell you, it's a process to get yourself out of it. So I'm here to help, and I'm here to be honest. So there you go. That's kind of my reflection. That's my 2 cents. That's what I've gone through, and that's what I've experienced. So let me see. I've not looked at the comments. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, Amy. She says she's been nervous to get. There's no reason for you to be nervous. And that's the other thing. Like, this competitiveness, like, seeps through to other people that want to join. If you don't make it competitive, it's not competitive. It's completely your mindset and the people that you surround yourself with and the accounts that you follow. If you don't make it competitive, it won't be competitive. Exactly, Josanne. Nobody's self-worth in any way hinges on social media. It's extremely true. Oh, Holly, where it all started on the bathroom floor. Let's not revisit that story. Oh, DJ, I love that. Holly! Oh my, I just realized, why are you using that? I know you as crisscross and applesauce. No, but I truly lived. I don't think, for the sake of me not wanting to cry, it was not a good place that I was in. I was not surrounded by positive relationships. I invested my time in things that weren't worth my time. And I really, really struggled because I thought that I was only worth anything if these people accepted me. And if I did what they said, because me being myself wasn't enough. I had to give something else to have their friendship or to have that connection or to be a part of that collaboration. I had to give part of myself to that. And that's where it became disgusting. And that's where it became a realization that I had to separate myself from those things. I had to separate myself from that mindset. And it was so hard. It was so hard. I still struggle with old habits of, oh, people don't like me. Oh, what are people thinking? Will I lose followers if I post this? And like I said, I've gotten better. I really have gotten to a space where if I catch myself in that mode where I'm like, oh no, somebody's going to judge me, or oh no, I'm going to get a nasty message, or oh man, I can't imagine, you know, what so-and-so might be saying. I mean, like what drama or gossip this will create. I mean, like I've gotten to a space where I just don't care. And I kind of have to say it that way. Like, is it really worth my time? No. Is it worth my feelings? No. Is it worth me feeling crappy for the next 24 hours and worrying about it? No. Is it something that I believe in? Yes. Is it something that I think will make a difference? Yes. Then there's no reason for me not to share. Which is why, probably if you look in the last few months, in the last few months, I've become more vocal about what I believe in and what I take a stand on. Now, some of you are like, oh, I didn't realize, because you've always been open. Well, yeah, I've always been open, but yeah, I'm always worried about losing my job. That's why I'm so careful. Well, I can understand that. I can totally understand that. But honestly, can you say that I've posted anything that would put my job in danger? Nope, because I'm human. And I'm not rallying troops. I'm not, saying that we need to, start a revolution and, flip education upside down. I'm not doing that. But I am talking on political issues. I am talking about things that need to change. But if it comes down to it, that's not, if you can't accept that, for me as an educator wanting to have a better life for our students or our children, then I think there's a bigger issue than me posting something on social media. Oh, I totally get that. Holly. But yeah, so there you go. So that's my story. And that's my reflection, and that's what I've experienced and what I'm still dealing with today and all of that other stuff. But honestly, I can say that when I took a step back and separated myself from the negativity, and I found the sources of the negativity, and I was able to separate myself or move away from, whether it was like computer or phone or whatever, and I just avoided it basically, or stayed away from it, the amount of weight that was lifted off of me was amazing. I didn't realize I was in such a dark place for so long until I took the steps to get myself out of that place. And that sounds really dark and creepy, but I mean, really, had I not taken those steps, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I would still be in a really negative space. So there you have it. Holly, I completely agree. And I think that's, honestly, I can say that the people that follow me truly know who I am. And they enjoy what I have, and they enjoy who I am, and they truly support what I do. And I think that speaks more to me than having 1 million followers, 1 million of people who really don't care about who I am as a person or what I stand for. The people that I do have love me for me and want to be there for me and want to be a part of my journey and want to support me and want to grow and want to do life with me, which sounds creepy again, but they want to be there. I didn't pay them to be there. I didn't pay for them to follow me. They found me because they liked me. And that is so, so, so true. And that's why I try to keep it real. That's why I try to be completely transparent, because I think it's really easy to forget that I'm human. And that every follower you see at the top of my screen, I worked for. I made a connection with. I stood for something. And I think that that is more meaningful than me having 80 million followers. Because I don't know. And it is, you're right. Don't let the negativity, it can easily consume you. It can easily consume you if you let it. But the thing is, you have to be aware that you're letting it consume you. Because if you're not, you will fall into a hole just like I did. And I did. I fell hard. And I was at the bottom for a really long time. And you wouldn't have known it. Because I hide it well. Part of my personality, I guess. I'm not going to let you know when I'm hurting. I'm not going to let you know my feelings all of the time. And when I do, I hate it. But I also want to be open and transparent as possible. So, oh, the joys of being a Gemini. Oh, goodness. Or ENFP if you're a Myers-Briggs person. So yeah. So I think you guys are amazing. I love how real your posts are, like an actual teacher who might be in the classroom across. Oh my gosh. Oh, that brings up a funny story. I totally am. And honestly, when people find out where I work or like they walk into my classroom, because that has happened, they follow me and then they come, you know, like do like service hours, or they come, you know, like read across America, or United Way actually is where it happened. Somebody who works for United Way follows my my Instagram, and she walked into my room and kind of made this really weird face. And when I'm not different, but I definitely separate my social media and my job. I'm not expecting them to come together when I'm at work, like at all, ever. So she walks into my room to drop off these books that they're donating, and she's going to come back and read in my class later. And she goes, I know this classroom. And I'm like, did you work here before? Like, my first instinct is not, oh, do you follow me on Instagram? Like, no. It's like, did you work here before? Do you know somebody that worked here? You know? And she's like, well, whose classroom is this? I was like, it's mine. And of course, my hair's up on top of my head because half the time I don't do my hair. I mean, let's be serious. I don't got time for that. And she's like, you. And I was like, oh, crap. What me? What me? And she goes, you're Meg. And at that point, that's when I was like, oh, you don't know me inside these four walls. You know me on your phone. Like, it's definitely a very weird experience. And I just stink at the whole thing of people who might actually know who I am. But no, I'm totally a person across the hall. I just, in real life, will probably be more quiet than you expect. In all seriousness. I'm very quiet in real life until you get to know me, and then you're gonna wish that I was quiet. I'll be honest, I was a little bummed you didn't show us your turn on the hoverboard. Oh. You know, I don't know that you would want to see my turn on the hoverboard. And it wasn't long lived. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe it'll be there tomorrow. Maybe you'll look out. But we're going to go ahead and end this live here. Thank you so much for being here. Definitely go check out the link. It's either in the description box if you are watching the replay, and thank you for watching all the way through and listening to my story, and as I answered questions live. And you can definitely grab your own healthy Instagram guide down below. I truly hope that it helps you. I created it, like I said, so it would be kind of like I'm walking you through the steps next to you, even though I can't physically be there. It's definitely something, I have my own guide that I've used, and I still go back and reflect. So I love you all dearly. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to click the thumbs up if you enjoyed any of these tips or enjoyed this story and me being open about it. Don't forget to share with your friends, and definitely go click the subscribe button so you can watch my upcoming videos and my next Megabyte Monday, which I will announce on Instagram. So I love you all dearly. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time.